Good morning. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this event, especially the GSF team for their excellent work and permanent work. My name is Riyad Oler. I am Turkish. I am in the middle of the 90s. I went to Syria to study Arabic. And through staying there, I learned that the Syrian regime in the 80s has bombed the city of Hama, and I learned as well about Rafat al-Assad, which is the person that we're going to be talking about because I'm one of the victims of the Rafat al-Assad, and he is the engineer of the mechanism for killing and torture of the Syrian regime from the 80s until this day. I was apprehended in Syria for 21 years because I wrote about the massacres committed by Rafat al-Assad, and especially in the Tadmor military prison in the 80s in Syria, which more than 200 political prisoners have passed away due to those incidents. I was apprehended because they discovered the letters that I was writing, which I was planning to send to Turkey to publish in the Turkish newspapers. And they put on me, as they do with all the Syrian prisoners, a lot of lawsuits that for crimes they have not committed. I stayed for 21 years, 15 years of which of enforced disappearance. Nobody knew anything about me. They would look for me and they would be told that we don't have anyone with that name. Of course, I haven't seen anyone from my family for 21 years. And that was the sentence of of speaking on Rafat al-Assad and him committing crimes. That was my punishment, not just me, but also my family. We received the punishment. Rafat al-Assad, like I said, he is a big perpetrator because of the disputes that he's had with his brother Hafiz al-Assad. He left the country through Muammar Gaddafi and he went to Europe. He had a safe haven. He made over on top of the money that he took from Syria. I mean, he stole money from the Central Bank of Syria. He took the money of Syrians and money of the Syrian victims. On top of that, he made a huge fortune in Europe. On top of the fortune that he got from Syria, he stayed for long years until recently France. He went back to Syria, and France has seized his assets. And recently, the federal court in the United States have started prosecuting al-Assad. Great many thanks to all the states that are doing these efforts. But we as the survivors and as the victims, we believe that these steps are quite late. The court that was started in Switzerland is good, but it's not enough to provide justice for Syrians, the true justice for Syrians, in believing that the release of the funds of Rafat al-Assad and returning them to the Syrian people, because the way he stole the money from Syrian people stayed with no education, with no health. The infrastructure of the country has been destroyed, and the Syrian people, as you know, since 2011 and until now have suffered and continue to suffer, and there is no political solution in sight in Syria. And so it is very important that these countries have to think about programs for reparations for Syrians. It's not a perfect solution, but it's a very important solution so that we would have transitional justice and to strengthen the network of survivors from men and women. It is very important that that this justice is served all over the world. Like many of my colleagues have mentioned earlier, it's very important to strengthen and bolster the network of survivors of sexual violence or being apprehended or whatever, so that they can stay together and so they can move on to the transitional justice, and so that they would have accountability for things to not happen again. Thank you.